Hello there. You may have noticed our media has a little bit of a void to fill at the moment. You see, our news cycle goes in pretty much 24-hour blocks these days. And in the lead up to the election, there's a lot of news because everybody's doing what they can to get in front of the camera. But now there's a little bit of a void because we don't have election news and we're all in this holding pattern waiting for November 3rd for the special votes to be counted so we can see what the final makeup of Parliament is going to be. And this is a really fascinating thing from a media theory point of view, because our media tends to do two things. We are trained to expect a 24-hour news cycle now with constant updates coming through. But because the people involved in creating media aren't anywhere near as busy, you get two different types of results. And it doesn't take much to set them off. The first is fluff pieces. Things like this that have cropped up on our mainstream media news outlets to basically fill space, to make sure that your feeds are constantly being refreshed, that you're constantly seeing their branding so you follow what it is that they're doing. Because if they're not able to fill those feeds up and get that information out, the algorithm's going to start driving people away from their sources, which hurts them in the long run when it comes to advertising. The other thing that you're going to see is a little bit more in-depth reporting, which it could be argued was probably needed before the election, but that's when you get stories like these crop up that start to look a little bit more in depth into the results of the election. And some of these things may have been helpful to have before the election, but not much we can do about it now. The other thing that tends to happen is when something does crop up that's newsworthy, it gets a lot more coverage a lot faster than you might be expecting. And we saw a great example of that in the last couple of days when Winston Peters tweeted out this disinformation about the March tax and who knew what and all big secret cover ups. And while it took a little while for some context to be added to his tweet initially from X, I guess they're called now, it still did some serious harm with some serious reach, because this is very much a comment that is designed to go towards his cooker followers, the ones who want to believe conspiracy theories and think that Jacinda Ardern is the most evil thing that ever lived. That's very much who he's aiming for. But it's completely incorrect, and the media jumped on this really fast, and for the last 24 hours, this has been a big focus within the media because they need to fill that 24-hour news cycle. Now, the weird thing here is that from a psychological point of view, there's actually a really good side effect to having the fluff pieces and the in-depth reporting come through now, and then it gives us a chance for us to mentally reset. It's kind of like that period between Christmas and New Year's where you're sitting there going, well, there's not really much going on, and you look at the news and it's all fluff pieces and not very much interesting stuff happening, and it kind of gives you a chance to disengage a little bit. And that's not a bad thing. When you're throwing a whole bunch of media and a whole bunch of information all at once in a really high stress time like an election period, sometimes we need a bit of a break. This is just a side effect, really, of how that process works and the cycle that we find ourselves in. So enjoy it while you can, because from November 3rd, these three are going to be the ones that make all of the news going forward.